As we examine Diamond the Shields and Caitlin Clark, they will examine this one. Diamond committed 3 fouls against Caitlin, and it all began with a hard foul against Shields. After Aaliyah Boston stole the ball and handed it to Caitlin Clark, who was breaking down the court, the Shields suddenly bullied her once more. This wasn't the first time Caitlin had been badly hit in this game, and it wouldn't be the last, but here's the thing. Unfazed, Caitlin Clark got back up, dismissed herself, and didn't even waste her energy on the Shields beyond a few sarcastic remarks. Everyone was obviously vying for her at this point, notably Angel Reese and her team, who knew that if they didn't stop her, their Rookie of the Year aspirations were finished. Let's not pretend that this was a one-off incident. Look at this. Incredible statistic. It wasn't just a rivalry. It was an all-out war on the court. This was the season's final game between Caitlin's Fever and Angel Sky, and both teams knew what was at stake. If Angel Reese could outplay Caitlin in this game, it might just tip the scales for the Rookie of the Year race. But if Caitlin dominated, it was all over. That's right. Nearly 80% of all flagrant fouls against rookies this season were directed directly at Caitlin. Right from the start, Caitlin demonstrated her trademark playmaking skills by threading the needle with a perfect pass to Melissa Smith for an easy basket. However, Caitlin didn't stop there, as she went on to drain a deep 3 that left the crowd in a frenzy, demonstrating that she wasn't just there to win, but to destroy. Meanwhile, Angel was having a terrible first quarter, missing wide-open shots and turning the ball over. By the end of the first quarter, Caitlin had already piled up 7 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds. However, things were only just getting started in the second quarter, as Angel only managed 2 points and a great deal of frustration. Caitlin increased the ante by making consecutive 3-pointers and continuously locating her teammates for easy looks. She seemed to be giving out passes with eyes in the back of her head, leaving the Sky defense reeling and Angel unable to keep up. She received 2 fouls as her fury with one miss after another boiled up, and by halftime, Caitlin had her Fever up by 10, tallying 15 points and 6 assists. Angel was already in foul trouble with just 4 points. The game became a full-on clinic in the third quarter. It seemed as though Caitlin was playing a separate game than everyone else since she was so good at cooking her defenders with deadly crossovers and precise passes. At one point, she paused abruptly and executed a step-back 3 right in Angel. The crowd roared in response to Reese's face, and even the commentators were astounded by what they witnessed. By the end of the third quarter, Caitlin had scored 25 points, given out 9 assists, and pulled down 4 rebounds, yet she looked hopelessly outmatched. Angel, meanwhile, was stuck on 6 points and her Sky were down by 14. With the game all but wrapped up, Caitlin's dominance didn't stop. She was toying with the Sky's defense, slicing through them and finding wide-open shooters like it was nothing. Every possession was another nail in the coffin, and Angel Reese could only watch as Caitlin ran circles around her team. Then came the final dagger. Caitlin finds Lexi Hall for back-to-back 3s, and with that, the Fever pushed the lead to 20. It was a statement plain and simple. Caitlin had not only outplayed Angel, she had embarrassed her on the biggest stage of the season, but it didn't stop there, right? As the Fever started to pull their starters, the Shields once again took her shot at Caitlin this time. A cheap shot to the body that sent Caitlin flying to the floor. The refs wasted. No time flagrant foul without a doubt. But what did Caitlin do? She got up, smiled, and waved to the crowd, letting them know that nothing could stop her. Not fouls, not trash talk, and certainly not Angel Reese. Angel Reese petted her stats during garbage time, finishing with a double-double, 10 points, 11 rebounds. But those numbers meant nothing, because everyone knew Caitlin had already won not only the game, but the season-long battle for Rookie of the Year. Caitlin had the last laugh, energizing the Fever fans as she left the court after dropping 31 points, 12 assists, and 5 rebounds, putting the Rookie of the Year debate to rest. Caitlin's message was clear. This is her league now. If you thought, this performance was exceptional, wait, because she will undoubtedly be vying for much greater awards after evenings like this. People say, dang, he or she is killing them, but you have a 25-year-old plan against a 20-year-old, and you should be killing them because you've been doing it for a lot longer than they have. Park currently takes about 40 shots per game. That's how much more experience that gives you over other players coming in right now. This season, Sheryl Swoopes has been causing a lot of controversy in the WNBA, especially with her criticism of rising talent Caitlin Clark. Swoops has always been jealous, but her most recent behavior has escalated the situation to a whole new level. Swoops's critique is even more shocking because ESPN, the network that has been closely watching Caitlin Clark's ascent, has often praised her influence on the WNBA. In a recent WNBA news story, Diamond DeShields made headlines for an aggressive play against Caitlin Clark that sparked a heated debate among WNBA fans. Imagine this. During a crucial Indiana Fever game, DeShields intercepted Clark at half court, not with a simple foul, but with a play that was obviously motivated by frustration. The fallout from this incident was immediate, with WNBA analysts and fans calling it out as a dirty play to give Caitlin Clark. It wasn't acceptable. It was a plague refile, starting a hurricane of controversy. Diamond DeShields' actions have repercussions beyond criticism. Racist threats were among the many forms of criticism directed at DeShields. During this storm, Sheryl Swoopes stood out as a vocal supporter of the Shields, continuing her narrative against Caitlin Clark. She tweeted, "Hey kid, hate won't win." Diamond the Shield received racist threats following Caitlin Clark's flamboyant bow, which brought attention to ongoing issues within the WNBA community. When asked by WNBA fans who were eager to hear her commentary, this tweet, which was supportive of the Shields, had serious repercussions for Swoopes, resulting in her removal from the WNBA broadcast team for the highly anticipated Fever vs. Dallas Wings game, a crucial WNBA matchup. You are covered, and there is nothing these evil people can do about that. All love for you. Swoopes didn't mince words when he responded, saying, "Not today, Satan, but let's be honest, supporting WNBA. Players who engage in potentially dangerous, career-threatening actions isn't a good look for a WNBA legend like Swoopes." This incident isn't unique. Rather, it's the most recent in a string of actions directed at Caitlin Clark, one of the most talked-about players in women's basketball today. Renowned sports analyst Stephen A. Smith, who is regularly on ESPN, has always stood up for Caitlin Clark, and this time was no exception. Smith didn't think twice about politely addressing Sheryl Swoopes' slanted and unfounded comments in regards to Clark. "Sheryl, do you know how that makes you look? Do you know how it contributes to any criticism of Caitlin Clark?" The Caitlin Clark effect is a genuine phenomena in women's basketball that is pushing WNBA attendance and viewership to all-time highs. Every time Caitlin Clark takes the court, she is changing the game, shattering WNBA records and raising the bar for women's sports. However, brilliance also brings jealousy, and his actions appear to illustrate the difficulties that come with being a trailblazer like Caitlin Clark. The tension between Sheryl Swoopes and Caitlin Clark goes back to Clark's college basketball days. Swoopes openly questioned whether Clark's skills would translate to the WNBA, even suggesting that Angel Reese's game was better suited for professional play. Swoopes confidently predicted that Clark wouldn't dominate the WNBA immediately. Like, no, it's not going to be that easy. So, will Caitlin Clark be a good pro? Absolutely. Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now, immediately? Absolutely not. Not gonna happen. Okay, but as we've seen, Caitlin Clark has exceeded all expectations, proving her doubters wrong at every turn. But Swoopes didn't stop at questioning Clark's abilities. She also criticized Clark's NCAA scoring record, dismissing it as a result of volume shooting rather than skill going to break a record. To me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it. Okay, so if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year, then there's another year. You know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record? Yeah, that'll go in the record book as Caitlin Clark is the all-time whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be. However, Swoopes got several key facts wrong. She claimed that Caitlin Clark took advantage of an extra year of eligibility due to COVID-19, playing 5 years of college basketball. In reality, Clark played the standard 4 years. Similar to the previous record holder, Kelsey Plum, Caitlin broke the mark in fewer games, demonstrating that it wasn't only about making more shots. Additionally, and perhaps most obviously, Swoopes overstated when he claimed that Caitlin Clark takes 40 shots every game when, in reality, her average is closer to 19 shots per game. People say dang he or she about making more shots. Additionally, and perhaps most obviously, Swoopes overstated when he claimed that Caitlin Clark takes 40 shots every game when, in reality, her average is closer to 19 shots per game. People say, dang, he or she is killing them. But you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old, like you should be killing them because you've been doing it for a lot longer than they have. Park currently takes about 40 shots per game. How much more experience does that give you over other players coming in? These inaccuracies have led many WNBA fans and analysts to wonder if Swoops' criticism is grounded in reality or personal bias. Instead of encouraging the next generation of WNBA players, Sheryl Swoopes ignores the enormous influence Caitlin Clark is having on women's basketball and the WNBA overall. She is drawing more attention to the WNBA than ever before, inspiring a new generation of young female athletes and attracting a wider audience to the league. Swoopes appears determined to ruin their success. But this is about the WNBA's future as well as Caitlin Clark. Despite the criticism, backing Caitlin Clark